all have significant adults, be it parents or others, that have been an important part of our lives. And we also have many students who have informed and challenged us as educators. And I hope you will reflect today and learn from these wonderful young people that we have with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As we bring our conference to a close and we consider all of the busy tasks that are in front of us as caring adults and educators in our everyday, I know and we know as a planning team at the department that each and every one of you has in your focus everything that is about what matters for students. And so today it is my pleasure to just kind of wrap up our conference and talk about, as I have been reflecting on information that Jody Spicer shared with us yesterday morning in regards to stress and ACEs and what that means for learners who are in our classrooms, our in-school suspension rooms, in our communities. And then as we listen to Dr. Curry in the afternoon talk about early literacy and cultural appropriateness and being aware, first and foremost, of what the messages are that students receive in our books and in our learning materials. As we listened to Sammy this morning and then had a chance to laugh with Collective Roots about some significantly serious regular occurrences in our buildings and in our homes maybe. And it's just a moment to really recognize all of the different pieces that come together to form our kids as whole students, as a whole child, and as educators, what it is we are charged to do each day. So at this time, I would like to refer to a youth panel that we had this morning and the opportunity to listen to youth who have experience in several of our special population subgroups. So our focus has been on different tracks, but the information that we've learned in each of the keynote sessions in each of our different areas has really been all about the whole child. So I can't help but to bring our focus back to that as I welcome and introduce Maria Inez, who is going to share her story with us. If you would join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Hi everyone. My name is Gonzalez, and I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior at Everett High School. So I was born in Cuba. The reason why I came to the United States is because my family was hoping for a better opportunities. I came to the United States with my mother, my sister, and my stepfather. I left many important people behind. I have been asked to talk to you about my school experience. When I came to Michigan, I learned the truth, that not everything was bad. Before I came to the United States, I was afraid because people in Cuba believe that Cubans are not treated good in the United States. And now I can tell you that I do not regret coming here. I do not speak or understand English. I did not really want to learn English because in my heart I really wanted to return to Cuba. What I remember the most is that I was super nervous and scared. I was happy to find people who helped me in what I needed, especially my counselor, Mr. Moreno, my ESL teacher, Mr. Estrada, math teacher, my Mrs. Estrada, social study teacher, and my bilingual assistant, Ms. Contreras, who goes by Ms. Lala. Everett has more ESL teachers than other high school. Many teachers at Everett do not speak Spanish, but most of the teachers did their best to help. If possible, teachers will provide homework in Spanish. If there was a student in the class that was bilingual, I will sit next to them. These were the three ways that was important to me. Another way, the way that helped me at school was my favorite activity, playing volleyball. Actually, I'm really good on I have been on the varsity team for about 2 years, and my coach, Gabriel, who also speaks Spanish, has helped me a lot. Like a lot. I know that my English is not the best, but I'm still learning, and I will be learning my entire life. My friends, my teammates, my teachers, and my family have helped me to be able to learn. And let me tell you something, I can't wait to take high school. Of all these I have learned, for any person who come to from another country, to not be worried, because everything is going to work out. Y como dice mi mamá, todo depende de un sacrificio. And like my mother says, everything comes with a sacrifice. Thank you.
Our next guest is Ariel, and she has a story that she would like to share as well.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Ariel Duncan. I am currently a sophomore at Wayne State University over in Detroit. And I would like to share my story with you guys today, so here it goes. I am a little short. Got my handy dandy heels, but a math teacher, a secretary, a student counselor, and a choir teacher. These were the people in my life that had the biggest impact on my success today. Now, I won't give them all the credit, because I worked damn hard, but hey, they did the best that they could, and they helped me in ways that I never knew I needed. Ever since middle school, I had been in multiple homes throughout my hometown of Battle Creek. I had spent the first semester of my freshman year separated from my sister in a town outside of Battle Creek. I was reconnected with her at the start of my second semester of my freshman year. We lived in a home with 8 other kids, and I ended up living with them for the next year and a half until they took guardianship of us. I started to work at McDonald's to start paying for everything I needed, but by junior year, things started to change within the home. I started to have to pay for my own basic needs like clothing and supplies for school, toiletries, and oftentimes money for transportation. I participated in my school's plays and talent shows, and was also in the school's choir. When I first joined, I was very quiet. I didn't talk much, and I kind of sang soft. It wasn't until one Friday when we had a karaoke day in class, and I ended up singing "Say Something." By the middle of the song, people in the class started crying, which resulted in me crying before the song even ended. I remember that having a deep conversation with my choir director about how he used to be a foster parent when he met 2 kids in his choir class who were in foster care and needed a home desperately. He inspired me to always strive to do what you love, even when it was hard or difficult. His class made me forget about everything happening outside of school and instead inspired me to strive for my passion of singing. I started to use singing as a way to cope and to get my feelings out, and I would practice and audition for the solos, and was so happy when I would accomplish and get them. Even though I had such a love for performing, it hurt to know that there wasn't anyone in particular that was there to watch me. Out of all my performances, they never came to watch and support, although their biological daughter being in the middle school basketball team, they made sure to show up to every game. I would end up having to ask other students for rides back home or to pay for a cab to come pick me up. It was embarrassing to stay back and clean rather than going to see family members with flowers and hugs afterwards. The night I do remember most was my math teacher, and she actually showed up and gave me flowers at one of my last performances. Aww. Previously, I thought that high school, throughout high school, I had started to purposely fail in math class just to be able to stay after school and get to talk and connect with her. We would end up talking about different things that had happened in my life, and she started to give me advice on basic life career options and even offered my homes when she found out that I didn't have them. I started my senior year, I started to go through a rough time within the home even more, and I soon found out that they were receiving the checks from the state and using them to pay for their biological kids' equipment and personal benefits. I started meeting with my school counselor to talk about my options for after I graduate, but I was also starting to understand that I would not be able to attend college simply because I had no money saved to go. I had so much going on in my life, I felt like I was living two different lives. This Ariel was a senior in high school and had supportive adults guiding her to learn about her post-secondary learning and choosing a major that best suits her goals and her hobbies. But this Ariel was a clinically depressed foster kid who was in an emotionally abusive home and is currently petitioning the courts herself to revoke her guardianship to be able to have her case reopened so that she could even have the financial capability to achieve anything after she graduated. Did you know that 84% of youth ages 17 to 18 experience in foster care report wanting to go to college? You see, I always thought about going, but it being a close to my second semester of senior year, I hadn't even applied to any of the colleges that I wanted to go to. I really started to open up to my school counselor because at this point in my life, I didn't see any future. I told her a little bit about my life in foster care and currently what had been going on within the home, and she was inspired to try and help in any way that she could. She helped me finish and submit my application to Wayne State, where I was then accepted into a bridge program starting in the summer after I graduated, which would provide housing for me during that summer. She also talked with the secretary of the counseling office, and they brought me to her house and let me go through some of the clothing that was getting ready to be donated to see if I could use anything. Even though up until my graduation I had been going through so much, the little things are what made the time go by so fast and it not be as bad. At our graduation award night, all of the staff of the school chose one senior of the Senior of the Year award, and they presented a speech where they stated how only 40% of foster youth end up graduating high school and informed the statistics on the low rate of high school graduates from foster care. They told me how resilient I was for succeeding such a difficult part of my life. They presented the award with 2 baskets full of startup goods for my freshman year at Wayne State. I couldn't have been more thankful to have so much support by the end of my senior year. Had it not been for the support of adults I had moving forward into my transition out of high school, I don't think I would have been as prepared for college as I was. Being in care automatically makes you have to exceed a limit of adulthood, which can be very helpful when transitioning into college, but when it came to things like procrastinating and effective time management, they helped influence me to want to achieve these goals and to be successful moving forward in my career. The biggest factor was that they in no way had to be tied to any association with the foster care system. They simply were just there to provide support and resources outside of being an educator. They saw potential where I saw trauma, and they provided me with guidance on how to use it for the good things in my life rather than focusing on the bad. There are foster kids that are in your school. They're out there, and I'm telling you that they need a math teacher. They need a secretary. They need a school counselor. They need a choir teacher. They need these role models to look up to and give them small guidance that I was given to get through what would be the toughest time of their life. I encourage you to be that math teacher, to be that secretary, to be that school counselor, to be that choir director. Because then that next youth will have a platform to advocate and possibly share their journey and include you in their stories. I can tell you now that those role models I had in high school were not my role models because they went all out and gave me things or babied me in their school. It was because they gave me advice and guidance and the preparation that I needed to be able to succeed out after I am let go from all of these, people that are in my life. My name is Ariel. I am a sophomore majoring in public relations at Wayne State University. I am a 2019 Foster Club All-Star and a TNFC ambassador. I'm also next year's FSM ambassador. I am an advocate for the child welfare system. I'm resilient, and I was someone like that youth that is going to be in that school. And those supportive adults really helped me get through that part of my life. And I can tell you now, if you show as much effort as they showed me, that youth will strive and become someone greater than you know. So, thank you.
It's almost a little hard to follow that. Thank you, Ariel Martinez. In addition, we had, as I mentioned earlier, a youth panel that included additional students or youth who have experience in care and other subpopulations. And I asked because following the MYOI youth panel this morning, we had, I can't even count on two hands how many folks came up and said, wow, we need to hear more of this. And this story, as you have heard, is so incredibly important and so incredibly powerful that this is what we need to hear. So I asked very tenuously if our other youth would feel comfortable joining us on stage to share some of the discussion that we had this morning. So at this time, I would like to ask all of our youth to please join me here on the stage. So in addition to Ariel and Marianas, we have Mars and we have Mateo, all who are current or just recently students who are experiencing some sort of at-risk need, subpopulation. And one of the questions that we had to close our session this morning around was, what did you need from your high school folks or your school folks that we can share with our audience today to help them understand the kinds of ways that they might be able to support you? And I'm also opening the discussion for our youth here to share from their heart whatever it is they feel they want to share. I'll give you an example. We had a comment that was made. We were placed into a failing system, and we continue to exist in a system that fails us. And that was our defining moment, my defining moment, I'll claim it. It was my defining moment today. And with that, I want to just say, you may share any part of your story that you feel comfortable sharing, or you may pick up with what it is that our audience members here today can hear from your voice that they can share back to students who need help. Would you like Mars to go first, or would you like to go first, Mateo?
Hello, I am Mars. I am a junior at Western Michigan University, majoring in Latin and minoring in medieval studies because I convinced myself it makes sense to major in a dead language. I want to open on that lighter note because this is all very serious stuff, and I don't want to cry, so I'm going to start off with that. So first, I want to talk about what all of you can contribute, and likely what you guys are already contributing, because it's just an overwhelming number of people in here coming all the way to Lansing to talk with us and hear what we have to say. One of the biggest things that I found as a foster youth is there was a gap in basic skills. And when I say basic skills, I don't mean knowing how to dress for an interview or how to hold a job or how to do my taxes, although taxes are still weird. But things like how to advocate for yourself. We talk a lot about advocacy, and if a student doesn't know how to advocate for themselves, advocate with them, not for them. And they won't like it, and incredibly important. It took me so much longer than it should have for me to work that out on my own. And so I think if you could make that a part of your journey with your youth, I think it would be incredibly beneficial. And then on the other side of that, there are a lot of things that I've picked up. One of the things I'm about to tell you, I picked up from a stranger that sat next to me on a train. But there are certain things that I've been able to put together that have made it possible for me to persevere through foster care and through the lasting effects afterwards, which some people forget about. So let me open my little paper. All right. So the first thing that I was really proud of myself for was I realized that in foster care you become aimless. It's really hard to get a solid sense of yourself when nothing is said. Caseworkers are shifted, schools are shifted, foster homes are shifted. I had to do home hopping during my time in foster care. And when you have so many uncertainties, it's hard to take the time to focus on what really actually drives you. Because if you ask someone, what do you want to be? That's a good question, but who you want to be, who you want to be is more important. And so I started living my life by creating a set of values. My values are honesty with myself and with others, compassion for myself and with others, and perseverance. Perseverance has always been easy for me. I was referred to as an ornery child. I like to think driven. But once I was able to name those values, it gave me focus, because then any decision I make goes through that filter. Am I honest? Am I compassionate? Am I persevering? Because then any decision I make is more certain. And I created myself as my rock. And then the next thing is the advice I got from someone else, is fight, not with your body, but with your mind and your heart. And a lot of times, I forgot that I had those things to fight with too. And when I say fight, I'm not talking about aggression, I'm talking about just strength and sense of self, and using those things to every advantage you can. And then the last thing I was able to teach myself was, in every situation you have exactly 3 choices. You can stay where you are and how you feel, and give yourself time to honor those feelings. Second, you can do something about it and make an active choice. And third, you can let that go, whatever's bothering you. And the most important part of that is none of those decisions is any better or any worse than the others. It's all situational. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this information is because I'm 22, and I could have used that kind of information before. And as a teenager, they may not respond to it right away, but it'll be in their head. So that's something I ask you, is to implant those ideas of create your own rock.
Hi. I'm Tim, which you guys have heard a few times now. I'm 17, I'm in 12th grade. I go to school online. Now's the time where I pull out my notes. Let's see. So, one of the questions that were asked were how you guys can give help to youth in not just the foster care system, but any schooling system, any child really. Because as I'm sure you all know, trauma does not only exist in the world of foster kids. And I would say for my best advice would be to try your hardest to be someone's someone's someone. I think I would hit walls with communication in foster care when I would see that caseworkers, in my opinion, were like kind of programmed with the same script, you know? It was kind of like hearing the same thing over and over. And it would be new people coming to me, but I was hearing the same things. And after a while of hearing the same things, you stop listening. So another thing is that I feel that it's expected of us to automatically trust you, because at the end of the day, the choices that are made are kind of, the bigger choices I should say, are not really in our hands. They're choices that you guys can make and put on the table for us. And in order for that to happen, I mean, I feel like to get something out of it, you must put something into it. So, with that being said, I say that because in like the foster care system, or like I said, any system, because of trauma, kids or adolescents are just trained to avoid trust because it's painful, and to avoid trust because it's fragile, and to avoid trust because it's temporary, right? So your trust is no exception to that, in my opinion. And then when trust is there, you'll build a bond that will last a lifetime, because children who've been through such trauma, I feel that we love the hardest and we trust the hardest. And yeah. Also, in the area of schooling and education, we get a lot on children who are failing or children who are back a grade. This is due to sometimes moving around, yes. And on our panel, we talked a lot about advocating for those children. One of the speakers had a story of where like a kid was going to have to be moved from a different school because of his placement, but moving to that school could have possibly ruined his high school credits, his high school grades, any of that. And little did they know, just by checking a few other options out, that child was able to stay in the school that he was in and continue his learning career as expected and as hoped. I'd also like to say, even not just for your student, but for your own kid, like, try not to wait until your kid is actually failing their classes to be like, hey, dude, you're failing your classes, because by then they're aware. And I like to think that failure stems a lot from discouragement. And discouragement comes from being in a place of no return. Like, I think that that's very true. And once you're failing and you have a whole semester's work to make up, you feel like you're in a place of no return. And then you're discouraged. And then you're like, forget it, So, yeah. I also would like to say that I appreciate any role that anyone here is playing, and I just think that we all just need a little bit of a push, and I think we'll be great. Like a push and a partner. Let's call it that. Because, I mean, if you're a girl, you're in high school, you don't even want to go to the bathroom alone. I mean, come on, guys. Like, if you guys feel better going pee with a friend, that's weird, but whatever. Like, alright, but I'm just gonna say that I'm a foster kid with, I'm not only a foster kid with trauma, but I'm a foster kid with a voice. And there are many other kids who are foster kids with trauma and foster kids with words that are only missing a voice and a push and a partner. So please remember that.
Would either Ariel or Medias like to add something to make a suggestion other than what you have already shared in your prepared speech? So this was an impromptu discussion, and I have to say I couldn't have scripted that any better. And I, along with you, would like to just appreciate the willingness, bravery, courage, and the spirit that these stories, these youth, and all of us together, and how we can move forward and take that from this conference and use that as our fuel when we are tired and discouraged, because they have said it best. And if you'll join me in thanking them.
Wow, I think you guys taught me something too. I just want to thank everyone once again for being here, and thank the four of you for teaching us and for sharing your stories and for sharing your strengths with us. Some of the things that I just took away from what you said, to be someone somewhere, I think that's going to become a hashtag in this room. Advocate with, not for. What a powerful message. I think back on all of the times I need to remember that. And then, of course, you said something. Well, now hold on, I'm getting there. So, the trust being temporary. Wow. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Thank you. And now we'll go with the push and partner. But I think back to yesterday morning and what Joey shared with us of the question that we all need to ask. What happened to you? I always cry. You guys are learning that how many times. But thank you. Thank you to all our powerful presentations over the last 2 days. Please give your presenters time, so if we can just, everybody grab your books, 1:25 to 2:35 this afternoon. We gave ourselves a 15-minute buffer, let me use it. Give your presentations let them finish out. Give yourselves 10 minutes to get there and process this wonderful learning. And as Sammy said this morning, let's consider how we can be that host, that person who advocates with instead of for. Thank you.